Right, welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. My name is Patrick Tauyama Tope, and on this channel, I do talk about anything to do with social work, especially practicing with children and families. However, information which I share here might be applicable to other professions, might also be applicable to other social workers working with other service users within our communities. Right, so in today's topic, I'm going to be talking to you about the 10 tips which I think might be helpful for a social worker to quickly settle within this profession, really. This might be helpful for those who qualified outside England or for those who are actually starting in the profession, especially the ASYEs. Right. So before I jump into the video, today giving you these 10 points. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Your subscription actually helps us to actually churn out more content for you. And obviously, like I always mention about new things which are brewing on the channel, which will be coming in due course. Right. So I'm going to be talking about 10 tips or 10 things that will help one settle, especially for new social workers, whether you have just recently qualified or you have just recently moved to the country to practice as a social worker, especially with children and families. Right. First and foremost, you need to understand the local context. Why do I say understanding the local context is important? You need to familiarize yourself with social work systems in the UK. That's really, really important. So if you haven't qualified in the UK, it's important for you to actually read the most basic, legal framework guiding the work that we do or the practice of social work in England. Really, it's really, really important. Understanding the laws, understanding the legal framework, the policies and the procedures that govern, social work or practicing with children and families is really important, especially in your specific area. It depends with which area, of practice that you'll be, practicing really, whether you're going to be working in the adoption service, or you're going to be working in referral assessment, or you're going to be working in safeguarding team, or you're going to be working in children in care or living care, whatever it is. But you need to know things which are specific to the area that you're practicing. Remember, each and every local authority has got unique processes that they do follow, or unique procedures that they do follow when it comes to working with children and families. But the most basic issues around safeguarding, or the most basic issues around assessment of children and families, is basically the same, possibly the world over, or possibly across England and Wales. So point number one, that's really important. Point number two, it's important for you to develop some networking abilities. Really, you need to build relationships with colleagues, with your supervisors, with other professionals in your field. Networking can provide you, with valuable support, which you may not necessarily get from your line manager, which you may not necessarily get from your peers as well. It also gives you guidance in how you should be able to do your work. It also gives you opportunities to collaborate with other professionals or to collaborate with other social workers out there, and it will be easier for you to actually learn new things from your peers or from your network than you actually sitting down and reading, if at all you do understand what you're actually reading. Point number three, it's important for you to invest in yourself to make sure that there is continuous professional development at your own personal level, at your own level, really. So continuous learning is really important. You need to stay up to date with the latest developments in the profession, in the social work practice, the way we do our work and so forth. You need to stay up to date with the latest research as well. So it's really important for you to make sure that you stay up to date with research and the policies which govern social work practice in England and Wales. So it means if you are new to that particular local authority, attend most of the mandatory trainings, attend some of the most pertinent or most of the most important trainings which are on offer. You need to also be attending conferences if you're able to make sure that you are actually up to date, with your skills and with your knowledge, as well as your experiences as well. So point number three, cultural competence. I'm not going to dwell much on this one because I did, I think a couple of videos really on cultural competence, on one can be culturally competent as a social worker. So you need to recognize and respect the diversity of the communities that you are serving. Cultivate that cultural competence within yourself by learning about different other cultures that you are either working with or that you are working with at family level, or those that you are working with at colleagues level, or as peers, making sure that you are aware of their values, their norms, and their practices. That's it on point number 4. I'm going to move on now to point number 5. You need to be able to use supervision and support very wisely. You need to make use of your line manager. If you're not quite clear about anything, remember, it's not your line manager who may know everything, because you might be being line managed by somebody who is actually new to that particular local authority, or who is actually local in that particular local authority, may not know a lot. But remember, you're not working in isolation, you're working in a team. So you need to be using the support within your team. Your senior social workers, your senior practitioners, your advanced practitioners should be able to use the support that is there already in the team besides your line manager. You need to seek regular supervision on your cases with your line manager, regular personal supervision as well with your line manager, and also, like I mentioned, support from other colleagues and other supervisors within the service. With supervision, I always tell people that it gives you valuable opportunity to reflect on your own practice. It also addresses challenges that you are facing in your day-to-day practice. It also helps you to receive guidance, which you obviously need as you practice, right? Moving on to point number 6, it's important to make sure that you do take care of yourself, right? This is really, really important. Remember, I always talk about burnout, vicarious trauma, and all those kind of things. So self-care is really important. Making sure that you take care of yourself is actually important. This is an emotionally demanding role. It's an emotionally demanding profession, for that matter. So you need to prioritize self-care. If you are somebody who is going to the gym, who loves to watch movies and so forth, try to do as much as you can to avoid burnout, and also make time for activities to recharge yourself physically, emotionally, as well as mentally. That's point number 6. I'm moving on now to point number 7, which is understanding legal and ethical frameworks. I spoke about the first point, which is going to be linking to this one. You need to familiarize yourself with the legal, ethical framework that governs social work practice in England, especially if you're going to be practicing in England, or in Wales if you're going to be practicing in Wales, or in Northern Ireland, or in Scotland if you're going to be practicing in those areas. You need to adhere to the professional standards and ethical guidelines in your work as espoused on the website of Social Work England. You need to be familiarizing yourself with those. When you have registered, obviously you need to have read those, but you need to always familiarize yourself, always refresh your mind with regards to those, ethics and values. Point number 8, communication skills. You need to develop on-point communication skills, both verbal and oral. Both verbal and written. Your communication skills needs to be on point, because remember, communication is one of the most crucial skills that one should be having as a social worker. So you need to make sure that you develop strong communication skills, which will enable you to engage with clients, to engage with colleagues, to engage with your supervisor, to engage with other stakeholders in an effective manner. Point number 8, documentation and record keeping. Your case notes, your assessments, your record keeping needs to be on point. You need to maintain an accurate and comprehensive record of your interaction with your clients and the service that you're providing, in such a manner that if you're going to get sick today and somebody else takes over that case, they've got a clue of what's going on. They can actually see where you're coming from and where you're going with that particular case. So in terms of recording and documenting the work that you are doing, this needs to be on point. Right. You need to familiarize yourself with the requirements or the documentation or the system that is used in that particular, organization or in that particular local authority. Remember, different local authorities use different systems when it comes to recording. For example, there's Eclipse, there is Liquid Logic, there is Mosaic, there is Framework I, there is loads of other systems which are out there which are being used by local authorities. So if you are moving from one local authority to the other, that's a good thing for you to be making sure that you familiarize yourself with the system within the first week that you are working, so that your documentation, your record keeping is on point. Point number 10, you need to be somebody who is able to reflect on your own practice. Reflection is really, really important. If you go to Johari's window, there's another video on Johari's window which will help you to reflect as a professional. You need to be able to practice in a reflective manner, identifying areas of improvement, taking proactive steps to actually enhance your skills if you have identified any gaps in your practice. And this will also make you a very effective social worker. But the most important thing is to make sure that you seek feedback in your own practice, either from your service users or from your peers or from your colleagues as well. You need to be open to get this feedback, because some people are not necessarily open to feedback and they don't take feedback, lightly, whether it's positive or negative. But you need to be able to take feedback, whether negative. It actually helps you to build you to be stronger. So you need to be able to take feedback, whether positive or negative. So with those few nuggets, I hope you have managed to get a few things. So yeah, for social workers who are new to the profession, or you've just finished your degree and you are embarking on ASYE, I'm hoping that this video would help you to grasp one or a few things that you need to know in terms of tips for you to quickly settle down and for you to be able to be the most effective social worker that you can be. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when I post again, you'll be the first person to be notified. Thank you so much.